Aloha everybody, and welcome back to Restaurant Recipe Recreations. And if this is your first time joining us, then welcome. Now obviously you've noticed that I started this episode with aloha, and that is because this is a very special dish that I'm going to show you how to create today. I'm really excited about this episode. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to recreate the braised short ribs of beef from Roy's Restaurant. And I'd like to tell you a little bit of a backstory about Roy's Restaurant and this specific dish. I had the opportunity to work at Roy's Restaurant for about 3 years, more or less in a consulting basis. But I still spent an entire week in the kitchen learning how to create some of their most popular dishes. And I even got the chance to have dinner with Roy Yamaguchi, as evidenced by one of his cookbooks that he autographed for me. I don't know if that's really proof or not, but trust me, I had dinner with him. It was a real treat for me, and I have to say that Roy Yamaguchi is one of the nicest people. But even more than his personality is, of course, his talent. He's an absolute pioneer in the culinary world. He created his first restaurant in Hawaii in 1988. And what made him so different and what separated him in terms of his cooking style was the way that he blended classic French technique with the bold flavors of the Pacific Rim. And of course, one of his signature dishes and a menu item that has been on his menu since the very beginning are the braised short ribs of beef. To me, this is kind of like a big dog of an episode in that it's a little bit of a departure from some of my easier episodes and recipes like the Panera macaroni and cheese, because this is really recreating something from a true pioneer and a massive, massive talent in the culinary world. And so I definitely want to do him justice, and I want to get it right. I do have to tell you, of course, that this is different than how they do it in the restaurant. And the reason that I say that is because at the restaurant, they prepare the short ribs in what they call a natural braising sauce. But this natural braising sauce, they prepare in a tilt skillet in the kitchen for about 2 days. And the average tilt skillet holds between 20 and 40 gallons. So unless you have a 30-gallon tilt skillet in your kitchen, which I know that you don't, or unless you're prepared to spend 2 days doing a natural reduction, which most people don't have the time or really the inclination to do, I'm going to show you a version that is as close as you could get to the original Roy's short ribs. And I think that you're going to be really, really happy with the results. This is an involved dish, which is why I kind of call it like a big dog episode. It does take some time. You do have to marinate the short ribs for 24 hours. But really, aside from the marinating, which once you put all the ingredients together, you put it in your refrigerator and you forget about it overnight. And then once we get to the actual braising, you stick it in the oven and you forget about it. So at the end of the day, there's really not a lot of hands-on work that's involved in this dish, but it is just a massive impact of flavor and tenderness, and it's just exquisite. And at the restaurant, they're even served with a honey mustard Yukon mashed potato, and I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So you'll have the whole entire Roy's Restaurant experience in your own home. So before we get started, I would like to ask that if you are enjoying this channel and if you are getting value out of it, if you find it fun, if you find it entertaining, and if you're learning how to create amazing restaurant dishes in your own home, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. And while you're at it, you can hit the like button too. Please leave some comments and suggestions in the comment section below. And if you have a request for a certain dish from a restaurant that you would like me to research and prepare and show you how to recreate at home, then go ahead and leave that in the comment section too, because I'm always interested in what my viewers are interested in. And I want to bring you the most amount of value for your time. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with Roy's Restaurant braised short ribs of beef with the honey mustard Yukon mashed potatoes. What I have here are 4 pounds of beef short ribs. And when you're in the butcher department, don't be afraid to hand select the short ribs, because not all short ribs are created equal in terms of the way that they're cut. And you wanna make sure that they have a lot of meat on them. So I hand selected these at the butcher and I told them which ones I wanted exactly. Don't be afraid to tell the butcher exactly which ones that you want so you get the nicest ones. So we've got 4 pounds here, and we're going to create the marinade that the short ribs are going to marinate in overnight. So I've got a half a cup of soy sauce. I prefer this brand here, this Datu Puti. If you like kikkoman, go ahead and use that. So we have a half a cup of soy sauce. I've got a third of a cup of rice vinegar. Some of these items might be a little trickier to find in your average grocery store. If you have an Asian market in your area, that's perfect. You can get all of these ingredients there. And if not, you can order them on Amazon. So we have 1/3 cup of the rice vinegar. I've got the black vinegar here. I'm not sure what the brand is, but you can see the label there. So I've got 1/3 cup of black vinegar and 2/3 cup of just regular brown sugar, light brown sugar. So you're gonna go ahead and toss the short ribs in this marinade. Make sure that each one is well coated. So I'm gonna put these in a large Ziploc bag. Make sure to add all of the marinade into the bag and get all the brown sugar out as well. Make sure that it's closed very tightly so that we don't have any leaks. And then we're going to lay this flat in your refrigerator overnight so that all of the short ribs get equal time with the marinade. All right, we'll see you in 24 hours. Okay, now that these short ribs have been marinating for 24 hours in the refrigerator, start with a neutral oil in a large oven-safe pot, working in batches because you do not want to overcrowd the pan. You want all of these short ribs to get a nice sear. Once they've been seared on all sides, you're going to go ahead and take them out of the oil and start with a fresh batch. Now I'm going to get rid of most of this oil because I do not want all of this oil in the dish, but I will save about 2 tablespoons. Okay, to the searing oil, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of minced ginger, large minced garlic cloves, and the 1/2 tablespoon of lemongrass. Get those stirred around in the pan. We're going to hit the pan with some red wine, scraping up all of the brown bits. Now we're going to add back in the braising liquid. I'm adding 1 tablespoon of 5-spice, Chinese 5-spice seasoning that you can get in any grocery store, I would think. Now we're going to put the short ribs back in. Now we're going to top this with the rest of the bottle of red wine. Make sure that all of the short ribs are completely submerged. And now I'm going to take 1 white onion and I'm going to stick it into the braising because I want the flavor from the onion, but I don't want onion actually in the dish. I just want that aromatic flavor. So we're going to go ahead and submerge it in there. You want this entire mixture to come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil on the stovetop, you're going to cover it with a tight-fitting lid. And what I'm using here is a Stobe brand Dutch oven. Now, this is obviously a very well-loved and well-used Dutch oven. The reason that I love this so much for braising meat is several different reasons. For one, it's cast iron. The other reason is that the lid is very heavy, so it's a very tight-fitting lid. And then the interesting thing about Stobe, which makes it different, underneath the lid here you can see that it's dimpled. And the reason for that is because when the lid is on it and whatever you have in the pot is braising, the steam and the evaporation comes up, it hits the lid, and then it goes back down into the pot. We're going to go ahead and put this in the oven at 350 degrees for at least 2 hours. We're going to come back and check it at the 2-hour mark. Okay, so I mentioned that the Roy's short ribs are served with a honey mustard mashed potato. And so I've just checked the short ribs. They've been in the oven for about 2 hours at 375, and I feel that they could go a little bit longer. So in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and finish these mashed potatoes. I've got my 2 pounds of Yukon potatoes that were peeled and boiled until they're all the way fork tender. You can get a fork all the way through them, so this is perfect for mashing. This is a 1/2 teaspoon of ground mustard powder, yellow mustard powder, 2 tablespoons of a stony mustard, so like a nice stone ground mustard, 1 tablespoon of honey, 1/2 stick of softened butter, and 1/3 cup of half and half. And we're gonna use a hand mixer on this. Okay, you wanna make sure that these are nice and smooth and creamy. We're gonna add salt, about 1 teaspoon. Give it one more mix. And there you go. It is as simple as that. Those are perfect. The short ribs have been in the oven for a full 2.5 hours, and they are perfect. The meat is pulling away from the bone nicely, so they are definitely done. But what we need to do is remove all of the meat from the pot so that we can drain the excess fat and then reduce the sauce. So I've given the fat an opportunity to separate, and I'm going to carefully put, with my pot back on high, I'm going to carefully put this back into my Dutch oven because I do want all of those juices to reduce. This is a way to sort of cheat your way through the process of the 2-day natural reduction because of course nobody has 2 days to dedicate to this, and nobody has a tilt skillet in their kitchen. So this is how you get around doing that. Okay, here's my favorite part, everybody. The plating up. Nice big scoop of the honey mustard mashed potatoes. Next, we're going to put some steamed broccolini, our beautiful fall off the bone braised short rib of beef, and this amazing natural reduction glaze. Hi, I'm back. Notice anything different? This one was an ambitious one, I'm not gonna lie. I've been away from the camera so many times that I've even had like wardrobe changes and but you know what? It was so worth it. Don't forget that you can follow me on Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And also, if you hit the notification button, the little bell button, you'll be notified as soon as my new episodes drop. As I said before, I film 2 per week, so you can look forward to seeing me twice a week in your kitchen, or actually in my kitchen on your phone, but you know, you get the point. Until I see you again, everybody, have an awesome day. Love y'all. Cheers.